It's day 7 of my holiday, and of my days, guys, I've got so much to tell you. So much, from fights, racism, sickness, somebody threatening to jump off the balcony, and me nearly having a fight with a woman today. And there's just loads. So let me just get straight into it. So if this is the first time you're here, then a huge warm welcome. My name's Angela, and welcome to my channel. And this vlog is all about my holiday in the Eftalia Hotel and Resort in Alanya in Turkey. And we've been here now 7 days. This is my 7th day vlog, and we're here for 9 days, so we've got another 2 days. So first of all, let me start with the positives. The hotel is beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. It's a new hotel. It's a year old, so the facilities are in tip-top condition. Really beautiful. It's got a beach that isn't so great, but 5-10 minutes walk down the beach, you come to an island, and it's a shared space between 3 other hotels, and it's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. So all in all, the hotel, the location, everything absolutely gorgeous. So we started off all excited, having a really good time, and I've done a couple of vlogs every day, sort of, telling you, how we've been getting on. And the food is just pretty bog standard, all inclusive. If you've done all inclusive before, you'll know what I mean. It looks pretty, it looks beautiful, but it's just bog standard. I've seen it 1,000 times. But the difference is, this time food's not good. It's not good. So when we've been reading the reviews before we booked it, people were saying pretty much what I'm saying, is that the hotel and the facilities are gorgeous, but the food is bad. Okay, everybody said that on the reviews, and at first I was like, do you know what, food is subjective, isn't it? You either like it or you don't. You can take a bog standard lasagna, and some people will like it and some people won't. Fair dues. But what I was also reading in the reviews is that the amount of people with sickness and diarrhea at the hotel, and at first I thought, well, you're going to get that when you're on holiday. But I did think to myself, it seemed like an excessive amount of people all claiming to have sickness and diarrhea. So again, we took it with a pinch of salt and we booked it anyway. Well, we got it. First 2 days we were fine. But I did notice that after my evening meal, every night I was really gassy, just belching a lot. And when I lay down at night, I had a lot of gas. And I mentioned it to my son, and he said, strange. He says, I've been like that, just really gassy. And I hadn't noticed it in the day for breakfast or lunch. Only noticed I was like that after the evening meal, and he was the same. Never thought anything too much of it. Anyway, 4 days in, my grandson, my 4-year-old grandson, he was really poorly. He had really bad vomiting. He didn't have the diarrhea, he just had the vomiting, and he literally was just throwing up everywhere. So we kept him in the room and everything, looked after him. He was fine. Then that evening, my daughter-in-law was saying she didn't feel so good. So we just thought we'd keep an eye on her. Next day, oh my God, she went down like a lead brick. She was sickness, diarrhea, vomiting, plus on top of that she had a cold and a terrible headache. She was laid up for 2 days. Well, she's still bad now, but she's up and about. And then yesterday my son went down like a lead of bricks, and he was like, oh, I don't feel well. His stomach was bad, and he was just in bed all yesterday evening, didn't come to dinner, didn't eat. Then today he was just worse. He was this vomiting, the sickness. He was just awful. Between the two of them, really bad. And then, of course, my grandson. The only one who's escaped any symptoms is my 8-year-old grandson. He seems fine. But my grandson, my 4-year-old grandson, my son and my daughter-in-law have been really bad. And I've just had like very gassy. Anyway, we started meeting other people, and they're saying the same thing, that they've come down with sickness, diarrhea. We met a couple. Well, we met the dad, and he had a son same age as my oldest grandson, and we got chatting with them because the two boys started playing together, and he said that his girlfriend has been laid up in bed for like 2-3 days, really bad sickness and diarrhea. She'd never known anything like it. Then we started reading reviews on Facebook page and on TripAdvisor and places like that. People saying the same thing. People posting that after their evening meal, terrible, really bad. So it's really just taken the edge off the holiday, because, like, you know, the family, we've had like 4.5 days where we've not been able to enjoy time together because they've been so sick. It's chronic. It's absolutely chronic. So we said to Jet2 that, you know, the people we booked with, we told them, and they were like, well, we eat in that restaurant every day and we've never had a problem, and nobody else has reported it. And my daughter-in-law said, well, that's because people are too sick. They're too sick in their room to come and tell you. And the thing is, she said that you have to be symptom-free for 2 days before they'll let you fly. So we've got tomorrow and Monday. So we're just hoping that, you know, everybody will be okay to travel back, because dealing with the insurance is going to be another matter. But yeah, it's been bad, really bad. And people have been, when you read the reviews, people are saying that it's not a new problem. This has been going on all season and also last year as well. But when I've had a little look at the food, they're just recycling food. So, you know, if they have chicken, like roast chicken today or for lunch, it'll reappear as roast chicken in the evening. But some of it they will chop up and put in like a stew, or might then put in a chicken pie, or then fry it off. So they're just taking the food and recycling it, which I understand is quite typical with all inclusive and buffet style. But the thing is, the food's not even warm. It's almost cold. So recycled food is you need the temperature to kill any bacteria. Honestly, the food standards, I say, it looks really beautiful, looks really pretty, and I've done lots of shorts on the channel of how it looks. The food looks beautiful, but honestly, it's a killer. And if you're vulnerable and got health conditions, or you're a child, you know, it can be really serious. We've seen loads of people being carted off to the doctors and in ambulance. This evening we saw somebody going off in an ambulance. Now I don't know what that was for, but yeah, it's chronic. It's bad. It's very bad. So if you're following me, you'll see that I've been posting pictures of my meals, and I'm just keeping it basic, like a fried egg, the Turkish bread, chips, and looking for things like fish that I can see that they're cooking. Whereas things like anything in a sauce, I ain't going nowhere near it. Nowhere near it. Because you know it's been recycled. So that's kind of really taken the edge off the holiday. But then, so has a few other things. I've made a list. I've actually got a list of things. There's so many things. So, fights. Well, this one was kids, the older kids in the playground. And I had to go in and break it up. And there were like proper fisticuffs and everything. I had to go in and break it up. I was like, where's your parents? Where's your parents? You know, what, you're on holiday. Why are you carrying on like that? My grandson, my oldest one, he was just nearby. And I said, you know, I was so glad he was clever. He was very wise. He didn't get involved. He just stayed away from them. And all of a sudden, I'm with the younger one, pushing him on the swing, and the next thing I know, I hear them scrapping. I'm like, what the hell? So I go over, I've been the only adult in the playground. I was like, what's going on? Stop it, break it up. And then I think one of the boys' mothers, I think the boy who started it or was throwing the first punch, his mother saw and walked over and got him, you know, but I'm like, you're on holiday, shouldn't be fighting. Saying that, I nearly punched a woman today in the lift. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not a violent woman, but my nanny bear instinct came roaring out today. Roaring. I was absolutely fuming. So what happened? We're in the lift, me and my two grandsons, because, you know, mum and dad were not well. So I left them in the room. I says, I'll take the kids. So we're going down in the lift in the morning, and my boys, they like to press the buttons. So we get in the lift, and there's 4 people in there already. There's 2 women and 2 kids. Now, I don't know if they were together. I don't know. I'm not sure if they were together. But we get in the lifts, and the buttons are, because they've come from like the 4th floor, we're on the 2nd floor, so they've stopped at the 2nd floor, but the buttons were already pressed. And my boys, especially the 4-year-old, they like to press their button. That's, you know, the kids like to press buttons in lifts. So we get in the lift, and first of all, I noticed one woman, and as we get in, she's screwing up her face like that and doing all of that, and sort of shoved into a corner. And I looked at her, I thought, what's that problem? Anyway, as we get in the lift, my grandson goes round, there was a little gap, and he went around the back next to this woman, and he went to press the button. And this woman went to shove him, she went to push him. Wow. Nanny Bear came out, and I said to this, I can't even repeat what I said to this woman. I said, who do you think you are? What do you think you're doing? How dare you? Don't you dare touch this boy? And she's talking in a different language, but I could tell by her body language it wasn't an apology. And she's like talking in a language, and she's doing all of this and screwing up her face, almost like, don't touch me, don't come near me, all of this, and making up her face. And she's going on like that in a language, and I was just giving her some. I was really telling her about herself. Say what you want about me, but don't come for me children. Don't come for me son. Don't come for me boys. Don't come for me daughter-in-law. Don't you dare do it. Alright? Don't you dare. So as she's going out the lift, she's still going on in her language, and she's doing all of this to me. Like all of that. Like that. So we get out as well, and I was just cussing her. I tell you, if my boys weren't there, I'd have... Yeah. Anyway, so as she's leaving the lift, she's still giving it some, and I'm giving it large. I'm like, you don't mess with Nanny Bear. You know, you don't do that. All right. There are some lines and some boundaries that are not to be crossed, and that you don't do. So I had to just calm myself down and remember that I had my two boys with me. But I was like, how dare she go to push my grandson? How dare she go and lay hands on him? I was ready for her. So we had that. Anyway, the day before, I'd gone to guest relations, because as a guest of the hotel, you're entitled to use to book the a la carte. And I do like a la cartes more so than buffets. So I go to guest relation, and this woman steps in, and she just looks at me like, gives me this look like, what do you want? Kind of like that look. There was no greeting, no nothing, just looks at me like that. And I goes, I've come to book for the a la carte. She goes, we're full. Just like that, we're full. I goes, you're full? She goes, yes, we're full. And she's giving me all the attitude. I says, you're telling me you're full? You don't even know what I want to book or when? She goes, well, we're full. I was like, I says, when are you full for? She goes, we're full for tomorrow. I says, okay. Both restaurants? Yes, we're full. I thought, okay. And I says, well, what about tonight? We're full too. I thought, okay, she clearly doesn't want me booking in the a la carte. So I says, well, when are you not full? She says, come back on Sunday. She says, we're closed on Sunday, but you could come on Sunday to the office and book for Monday. I says, okay. I says, are you sure you're not going to be full? And with that, she just like put her head in the air like that. But by her reaction, I could tell that she had a problem with me. And I just felt that she didn't want me in there, in her sight, in her office, or using the a la carte. Because how's she going to sit there and tell me that she's full, that the restaurant's full? She didn't know when I want to book. I could be wanting to book, you know, a week in advance or a week and a half in advance. You know, I just thought, I just smacked a hint of racism with her in the a la carte, so in the guest relations, but also the woman in the lift. I just felt, you know, unless you've experienced racism, a lot of things you will just pass off as, some people might say, well, she could be like that with anybody, you know, with somebody white or with kids or elderly. And that's a fair point, but the way that I describe some forms of racism is like if you're standing here and somebody's behind your back and pulling faces, yeah, you can't see them, but you just feel it and you sense it, yeah. And that for me is sometimes, not always, but sometimes how racism is. So in that example, that was how the woman in the lift was with me, and also the woman in the guest relations. You could just sense it by their body language. Didn't like black people. So if you think that was bad enough, wait till you hear this. So my daughter-in-law, who's white, she takes my oldest grandson, who's mixed race, into the football pitch, and as my grandson goes in, there's a group of white lads in there, and one of them says, "You can't play with us." And my grandson says, "Well, why?" He says, "Because you're a..." and calls him the N-word, and also calls him the name of an animal. And my daughter-in-law overheard this, and she stormed right up to the boys, and she gave them, I mean, I wasn't there, so I'm telling it secondhand. She gave them a right telling off, and then said, "Who's your parents?" And then they all tried to deny that they said it. And she says, "Well, one of you said it because I heard you." And they all tried to deny it. Anyway, she just gave them what for, and she says to my grandson, "Go and get that ball and pick it up." And they were like, "Well, you can't take that, that's our ball." And she says, "No, actually, that's our ball." So they took the ball and left. And I said to her, they were lucky I wasn't there, because Nanny Bear would have come out and she would have roared really, really loudly. So that's 3 incidences of racism we've experienced. And it just broke my heart that my 8-year-old grandson experienced that, because he's a gorgeous lad, absolutely gorgeous. And he is mixed, and he shouldn't have to experience things like that. He just shouldn't, But unfortunately he did. But I say, those boys are lucky that I haven't seen them or don't know who they are, because I'd give them what for. The police would have to come lock me up, I'm telling you. I wouldn't physically hurt them, but I would be telling them, I would be correcting them, let's put it this way. Oh, gosh, what else? Then, God, if you think that's bad enough. So the other night, I did mention this on one of my other vlogs. The other night, I woke up in the middle of the night. I think it was the second or third night we were here. And I was waking up in the middle of the night by somebody screaming, "Help, help." And apparently there were 2 instances that same night, different times. And the first incident was somebody... Apparently, again, I'm hearing this second. I did hear the screams for help, but I'm hearing the backstory, like second, third hand. But apparently, somebody, I don't know what had gone on, but they was climbing over the balcony and off. I'm on the second floor, and I think they were on the 4th floor or something like that, and threatening to jump off. And so we got chatting to a couple, an elderly couple, and they were right next door to this person who was ready to jump. And they said when they came out on the landing, there was like police and security and everything there, because I think something had gone down. I think there was like a domestic, and somebody, in order to get away from this situation, was threatening to jump, and that's why they were screaming help. I know. But I think we've not heard anything else, so I imagine that they've taken them out, or they've left. And then later that evening, there was also another incident where somebody was drunk and was on the landing, and they were like literally hanging off, not the other side of the glass, not the free falling side, but leaning over the glass, and just like making threats and saying that they wanted to end it all and everything. So again, I'm hearing this secondhand. So I haven't heard it myself, but this is what's been going around, and I'm just like flipping out. People have got a lot of problems, and they bring their problems with them on holiday because it's part of who they are. it's just unfortunate that the rest of us have to come across their problems and, you know, be disturbed or be involved in it. So I hope for those people's sakes that they're okay. Really hope that they're okay and can get some help. Oh goodness me, let me see what else is on the list. And then met this lovely bloke on the beach. Absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful suntan. Very distinguished. So I'm there lying on the beach, do me thing, just soaking up the sun. And he comes over and we start chatting and tells me his name. He can't speak a word of English and I can't speak a word of Turkish or Spanish or German, whatever it is. Can't speak a word. But yeah, we just, in a strange sort of way, get chatting and, you know, the broken English. And he's asking me who I'm here with, and I'm like, family. And then he's saying, he's looking at my hands and he's like, you married? Ring? Married? I says, no, married. And big smile comes on his face. I goes, okay. So anyway, we have this little chat, right, as much as best we can. Anyway, I see him every day. I'm on the beach and every day he comes, because he's a lifeguard, and I see him in the mornings when I go for my walk in the beach. I can see he's been swimming in the sea, fit. And so anyway, today I seen him again, but this time he comes over and he takes it. So normally he comes and he shakes my hand, but today he was like holding my hand like that, and I was like, okay. So he's asking when I'm going home, and I says 2 days, fly home. And he goes, you married? I says, no married. And he goes, me, no married, finito, no marriage, finito. You nice lady. I was like, this could really be a Shirley Valentine situation. So I've been joking with my son and saying, oh, I might be going home with your new stepdad. So anyway, they met him on the beach, because after I met him, I says to my son, he wants to, I was just winding my son up. I says, so he wants to meet you. And he goes, what does he want to meet me for? I says, I think he wants to ask you for my hand in marriage. My son is just like, oh, we ain't having any of that funny business going on. So I like to wind them up. But no, he's absolutely lovely. Pity we can't speak the same language, you know, but we'll see. Anyway, so that happened, that's been happening all week. And then I leave the beach usually about 6 o'clock when the sun's gone down. And this evening, as I'm walking back from the beach and I'm walking through the poolside, and I've got my little trolley. I showed you my trolley in yesterday's vlog that I got from Primark. It's a duffel bag, but on wheels, and I'm pulling that. And as I'm walking through, this bloke just runs up to me, and he says, excuse me. He says, let me carry that for you. I was like, okay. Bloke was fit. And I'm like, okay. I was like, well, first of all, I was impressed because, you know, those are actions of men that you don't tend to see a lot these days. You don't see men asking, you know, helping, you know, women, strangers, people they don't know. You know, these days, the bloke don't even want to open the door for you. You know, they expect you to open the door and they just barge through. No, thank you. You know, not all men, you know, but some men and some blokes will see you struggling, and they just walk past you, you know. And I've become accustomed to seeing that. So when a bloke stops me and he says, "Excuse me, let me just carry that for you," and he didn't even have to carry it; it was on wheels. Very impressed. Plus, he was fit. He was so handsome, and I was like, "Oh." So anyway, we're walking along, and we're chatting. He's asking me how my holiday's going, if I'm enjoying it, and of course we get around to talking about the food, and he's like, yeah, food's absolutely shite. And you know, then we talk about the weather and how beautiful the weather is for this time of year, and that it's absolutely shite back home in England. And we were like, you know what, that's a good holiday. When you're on holiday, the worst thing is when you're on holiday and it's nice and sunny and the weather's really nice back home. Although once, years ago, me and my son, we went to Fuerteventura. I'll never forget that. We went to Fuerteventura and we landed, and in the afternoon the sun went in, and it never came back out for the whole week until the day we left. And I got home and my friend said, "God, it's been absolutely roasting here." He had a better suntan than we did. And I was like, so you don't want that when you're on holiday. So we got chatting about that. Anyway, he walked me into the hotel and I was impressed. And I thought, oh, he'll drop me off here. But he didn't. He walked me to the lift and I thought, oh, he'll drop me off at the lift. But he didn't. He actually come in the lift with me. And I was like, aye, aye. So he said, "What floor are you on?" I says, 2. He says, "Oh, I'm on number 2 as well." I thought, at this point, I'm thinking, this seems to be, you know, yeah, wasn't sure where it was going. So anyway, he came up and we both got out at floor 2 and we're walking in the same direction. I'm like, I wonder what's going to happen. Anyway, we got to the first door and he says, "Oh, this is my room." I thought, I thought he was going to follow me to my room. Anyway, he knocked the door and he went in. Anyway, I got his name. We exchanged names. He told me he's leaving tomorrow, and I might see him tomorrow by the pool. Who knows? So I felt like a bit of a man magnet today, attracting all these men. I know. I tell you, it doesn't rain, it pours. No, what's the saying? Yeah, it's the buses. Yeah, you don't get the bus. You stand there waiting for a bus for the longest time, and then 2 come along, all within an hour of each other, all at the same time. Anyway, so yeah, so it's, and my friend said to me before I left, she said, "Oh, have you ever had a holiday romance?" And I says, the closest I've had of a holiday romance, I was 18, me and my friend, we went on our first ever holiday to Yugoslavia. I'm just thinking, where's all my blankets? I was just having a look. I have 5 blankets because it's so cold, and you know me, I like to keep warm. And I'm only seeing 2. I'm gonna have to sort that out in a minute anyway. So holiday romance. Me and my friend, we went to Yugoslavia. That's how long ago it was. When you say to the kids these days Yugoslavia, they don't know what you're talking about. But Yugoslavia was a country before Civil War, and then after Civil War it's got split into 6 different countries. So Bosnia, Herzegovina, Croatia, that part of the world. But before that, all of those 6 countries were put one country, and it was Yugoslavia. Anyway, me and my friend went there, and I think on the second night there was a little knock at the door, and we opened this door because we're not expecting anybody, so we're thinking it might be room service. So we opened the door and there's these 2 blokes stood outside, right? And he said in his, broken English, he says, you English girls, because, yeah, he says, you want, what is it? He said, you want a fair. That was the word. He said, you want a fair 1 week. I said, you are. He says, you English girls have a fair 1 week. Me friend, you friend, a fair 1 week. I was like, no, thank you. Certainly not for me. And I said to my friend, do you want an affair with these blokes for a week? She goes, no, definitely not. I said, no, not interested. Why are you not interested? Affair 1 week, 1 week only. I said, no, thank you. Bye-bye. And closed the door. Oh, no, before that, he said, we hear English girls easy. And that's why he was asking. I was that cheeky bugger. Cheeky. So, other than that, that's the only time I've even come close to having a holiday romance. I said, no, when I go on holiday, I'm there to relax, to see the sights. Not interested. If I'm not bringing a fella along, I ain't interested in picking one up. A little souvenir. Not interested. So, but it is nice to get a little bit of male attention when I'm on holiday. But yeah, it'll stay here. Anyway, gosh, I've gone on for 36 minutes. That's how much I had to tell you. And I did say that these vlogs were only going to be 10 minutes short. Gone on for 36 minutes. That's how much has gone on. And we've still got 2 days left of the holiday. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for being here. And if you're watching at this point, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. There'll be another vlog tomorrow, so don't miss it. Hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell. I'll see you tomorrow. Whatever you do, have a great evening. It's nearly 10 o'clock now. Normally I make these vlogs either in the daytime or early evening, but it's been so full on with my son and daughter-in-law being sick, and I've had to look after the kids today, which isn't a chore. I absolutely love it. But yeah, that's why I'm doing it so late. Anyway, I'm going to take my makeup off. I'm going to get into my bed, and then I've got a sauna, a steam, a spa treatment, and my massage booked for tomorrow morning, and then I'll be back on the beach. Anyway, have a lovely time. Whatever you're doing, I'll see you soon. Take care now. Bye. Bye-bye.